Ready, we can kick off tonight's meeting of the Southern Vermont Unified Elementary School District Board of Directors. Our first agenda item is public comments, so we'll open the floor to anyone from the public who would like to make a comment. Seeing none, we'll move on. We have our minutes from the April 30th meeting provided by Mr. Bump.
So moved. Second.
This is up for an approval. So we have a first and second to approve the minutes from April 3rd. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as published, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Richard, for those. Item number 3, finance. We have 3 items under finance with the bank resolution document. Secondly, authorization for executing contracts, and lastly, a request for proposals for heating oil.
You've seen this resolution at all your individual meetings?
So I'll read this into the record. The resolution, it reads thus.
Nope, you're actually doing that's the execution of contract, so that's B.
Okay,
I don't
thank
know if
you.
you want to do A.
Okay, so Ms. Gordon, would you mind speaking to the bank resolution document, please? Thank you.
So this is a standard documentation that People's United Bank requires when either we have a change in signers on accounts or we're opening a new account. So in this case, we are establishing our new accounts for the SVUESD. So we would just need authorization for the board chair to sign this, and then we'll have the treasurer and assistant treasurer sign, and then we can get the accounts opened and continue with our setup.
Okay. Is there anything specific in the language of the motion that you would need, Renee, or simply to? Okay. So could I please have a motion to authorize the chair to sign that as described by Director Gordon?
I'll make a motion.
We have a first, so we'll call it a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And it carries. Thank you very much. So that's the first one. Second, the authorization for executing grants. So I will read the proposed motion, and if someone would then like to make it, that would be helpful. A motion to authorize the superintendent or his or her designee to execute on behalf of the Southwest Vermont Union Elementary School District purchase orders, agreements for consulting services, grant agreements, and other contracts arising affecting the routine operation of the school district. The superintendent or designee shall not execute any contracts resulting from a public bid process, any employment agreements, and any long-term contracts without express authority from the board. So a little history notes. The auditors have questioned in the past who has been given the authority to enter into contracts. And this particular issue was a finding on our AOE federal fiscal monitoring visits due to purchase orders, contracted service agreements, and agreements for compensation outside of the employment agreements, otherwise known as pre-approvals. So that's why we have this. So can I please have a motion to reflect what was just read, please?
So moved.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to authorize for executing contracts, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And it passes. And lastly, we're on to the heating oil RFP. Director Gordon, could you speak to that too, please?
Sure. We were due to go out to request proposals or pricing again for our heating oil. This typically is a 1-year agreement with renewals. This one, the term contract will be for 1 year with 4 1-year renewals if the district so chooses. We received pricing from 3 bidders as identified there on the information sheet provided. And it's our recommendation to go with Marabido as they came in with the lowest pricing for next year.
Please.
Where is Pownell in this?
Propane.
Oh, we use propane.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just strictly oil.
Yes, this is just heating.
So is Woodford.
Right.
So,
Maya told me that today.
oh, okay.
She noted that, yeah, it's not gonna affect any of the pricing because we actually, even though this is just for the Union Elementary District, we actually bid it to include the SU and I think there was a portion of one of the high school buildings has backup, the high school has backup oil too, so we put it all together and just had them priced.
Opens out back.
Yeah.
So,
So there's no impact, even though Woodford won't be using anything that they priced out. That's fine.
pretty tough to burn oil in a propane. boiler.
Well, yeah. We were going there, but I didn't know if it had any effect on pricing or other contracts or anything else in Pownell, I guess.
She checked into it today, and she said it hasn't went.
So we have the information that's been provided. Is there anyone like to propose a motion?
Make a motion to accept the bid of Rabido.
Okay, very good. Can we have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. So we have Tony as the first, Shayla as the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the floor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good. It goes to Morado. Thank you. Agenda item number 4, the adoption of policies. And Jim, I'm going to ask you to speak to this a bit, please.
So on the recommendation of our attorney, she is asking you to do a two-step process, that tonight you vote to warn all the existing policies, which would be policy starting in the 1000s. Policy 1000 is community relations, through policy 7 of the 7000s, which is operation of the school boards. So to warn them all en masse as they are on our website. And then next month, you'll come back and you will vote to adopt all existing policies. It's the same policies that all your individual boards have already accepted. So a motion would be in order to warn all the existing policies of the Woodford, Pownell, Shaftesbury, and Bennington School Board.
Jim, I'm trying to pull it up, but you have that terminal policy number in the 7000s?
The terminal policy number is 7300, public participation in board meetings.
Thank you. So could I please then have a motion to warn existing policies 1000 through 7300?
I'll move that with a stipulation, if
Okay.
I may, that there's references within all of our unified policies and the header where it specifies BSD, Pownell, Woodford, et cetera. So that the stipulation would essentially say that all policies where it's listed as individual districts be considered as until the mechanics can be completed to combine that. And I'm hoping that will avoid a legal situation
Sure.
where somebody says you don't have a policy, even if the lawyers say we do.
We do have the policy. So tell me if I have this correct. So you are moving that the SVUESD warn all of the existing policies to include language that acknowledges the presence of the currently named districts along with the new unified elementary school district.
That stipulates that those individual districts are to be taken as
Okay, okay.
the Southwest Vermont Unified Elementary School District policy.
Okay, sounds good. Do we have a second for that, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Cynthia. Any further discussion on that? Great. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good, we're done. We're not done, we're done.
What was the record in pound?
9 minutes. He's going for it.
Okay.
No, we passed.
Number 5 is the election of this board's reps to the SVSU. So I would open the floor to nominations, please. We get 2. Am I correct in that? 3. This one, you're absolutely
We're
right.
gonna go with 3. No alternate.
Okay.
3 full.
3 solid.
To
Nominate
begin July 1.
Okay.
Nominate Shayla Sikora.
I nominate Dick, please.
That was handy.
All right. Do we have a third?
I nominate Cindy. Because you just want to be there with us.
Yeah.
Do we have any others? So here we have 3 seats. We have 3 nominees. Could I have a motion to elect those 3 nominees as a slate, please?
So moved. Motion.
We'll call it Angie first. We'll call it Susan second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of electing those 3 members of this board to the SVSU, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? And it passes. Very good. Thank you very much to the 3 of you for offering to serve in that capacity.
I don't know if you want to elect the other seats or do you want to wait till the June meeting?
We're gonna
Do
wait
we
till the
need an
June
alternate?
No, there's the alternate was a result of the state board action from 2013, so that only applies to those who are under that order, and at last week's state board meeting, they rescinded that, so at the next MAU meeting, they'll be electing a third member also.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you'll wait till June to do policy and...
Policy committees, yeah,
All
all
the
of that,
others.
yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure that we put that on the agenda.
Yep, for sure. Next up is you, Superintendent Colkeen, for the chair's report, please.
You're the chair.
Yes. It's the early start time. If they're early enough, I lost the time. I lost the yes. So
I also
as the
think that
chair,
might be out of order, so that might have been why
Yeah.
they're confused, yeah.
maybe that's what it is. Okay, so hi everybody.
It was the road closure.
It was the road.
Throwing you off.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Threw me off.
Where was their road?
top of
Beach
Beach Street.
Street.
So everyone
She's
was-
really sticking up for you.
Was I appreciate it, yes.
Stick
I'm
together.
grateful for that. So just a few reminders as we wrap things up, as the other elementary school districts are wrapping things up. We had talked about how all of the currently existing boards should notify me of any outstanding business that they have on their plates, and I've heard from some members of some boards, but not everyone. So please just make sure that we're not, just so none of the currently existing school districts miss out on anything or nothing gets falls through the cracks, let's make sure that we address any sort of outstanding business for those.
I guess I didn't answer because I wasn't sure what you meant by that.
Sort of any, so I'm trying to think if there's anything on the BSD board that qualifies this. For instance, there was an ad hoc policy, or an ad hoc committee for the lice policy to discuss that and to make recommendations. And even though that process began, that process has not been completed yet. So it's a thing that's still outstanding that maybe this board would choose to take up. Rather than, and I would like this board, for instance, to make the decision to either follow through with that ad hoc committee or not follow through with that ad hoc committee instead of just letting it fall through the cracks. So if there's any similar items on any of your current boards, let's make sure that those don't fall through the cracks and we bring them here either to dispatch or to finalize in the correct way.
If there's school building projects or maintenance project, that sort of thing, is that also appropriate, or that's gonna get rolled into our daily business, or our business anyway?
Well, I guess, why don't you notify me of those things, just so we can make sure, as this board, we can make sure that those things will be covered, whether it's by this board or whether it's by just the automatic administration by central office. Let's just not presume that anything is just gonna be taken care of. Let's be purposeful about it. With regard to future agenda items, my preference would be that folks just email me. If something comes up over the course of a month and that you want it to be discussed at the next warned meeting, just throw me an email and we'll make sure it gets on the agenda that way. We still should figure out ways to promote the school budget. As we know, we're under some very tight guidelines. So some ideas that have already been generated are that members of this board write letters to the editor. Members of this board encourage their friends and family to write letters to the editor. Most folks operate some kind of social media account, personal social media account. So the idea is to use that as a means by which to spread the word. There's always the newspaper, there's always WBTN and asking those things. If people have other ideas, please let me know about those as well. Yes, Dick?
Are there any legal issues with lobbying, if that's considered lobbying?
As an individual, you can do whatever you want to do. The board, I think, has to stay away from other than reminding people to vote.
Sure, I mean, I think each of us is at liberty to write a letter to our paper and say, identifying ourselves as members of the board, but making it clear that we are speaking as individuals and not for the board.
It has to be advertised a lot better than it was the last time.
Yep.
Out of our 1,700 voters, 80 showed up.
Sure.
And maybe it was because there wasn't any.
Wow, you had a
A
lot.
lot of people don't
You
get
had
to be
24 in
in
Chatsbury.
Well, we were flooded then. Didn't realize it.
So if we can just continue to be thinking about that, please, and sharing ideas either with myself or directly with Jim, that would be helpful as well. And as Superintendent noted, I'll be making appointments to committees at the next meeting. So if anyone is really excited about the idea of serving on a particular committee, or the opposite, really does not want to serve on any particular committee, please let me know. You can give me a call or you can throw me an email, and we'll make the appointments at the next meeting. So that's it for the chair's report. And now, number 7, on to the superintendent's report.
Okay. We enclosed the articles of agreement so that people could have a chance to read them again. I don't know, it's kind of one of these things that got pushed aside. And remember, these are the default articles of agreement that the state provided, not the articles of agreement that our study committee put together. So of importance is that we want to talk to you about Article 7, which is, Article 6, transfer of property, which is some of the things that our attorneys have been doing, and we'll be talking to individual boards, but we'll also talk to this board. There are two, in the title searches, two things that have come up. One is Shaftesbury. There is a restriction on the land that the fire station actually sits on school property, but that will convey. And there is about a 5-acre easement that the town owns land that as long as the land remains, I believe it's where the ball field and playground is, that as long as it remains open as a school and it's used for that purpose and it stays with the school, if the school ever closes, the land reverts to the town. But that's handled if the school ever closed anyways, and I don't want anybody to think that we're talking about closing any schools. But
That's
if it
good.
ever did, there is language in the articles on, the town really has right of first refusal to that anyways, or conveyance for $1. The other piece of title search that we want to talk about is Woodford. It appears that school district owns the building and the land that it's on, but the playground, parking lot, and driveway, parts of it, belong to the town. So our attorney is drafting some language that we can present to the town, asking them to convey that land to the new school district, if they would like to. Because without it, we're actually crossing over their land to get to the school. So we hope to have more information for that attorney. We gave him all the dates of the next round of your individual board meetings and told him we need this language by those dates. And Bennington appears to be no issues with their title. There's also a discharge, wastewater discharge permit for Shaftesbury that's going to need to be transferred to the new Union Elementary District. And it has something to do with the sewer disposal into Heron Creek. Heron
So
Creek.
are they gonna, if I get this straight, so there's gonna be like a line where the firehouse is? Is that what they're saying? Is that what?
No, the existing agreement will stay in place. It shows on the deed that the firehouse is on school property, but it's an easement that's been granted.
I got you.
And for consideration of the second driveway, I think so that, at least that's how our attorney explained it to us. So
Right.
none of it, he seems to think, is a difficult problem. Frankly, though, I don't know, and Susan, I don't know how Woodford is gonna feel about conveying land to the new school district, but, we'll ask.
We can go to the select board for that matter
And
and
ask them.
preface
Yeah.
the issue.
If they don't want to turn over to the school district, then will we have to go for a right of way to get up to the school, or is that gonna be sticky?
Well,
Because they use the land
right,
for,
everybody plays well together, right? So it
we
shouldn't.
try,
Of course
yeah.
you do.
It shouldn't be an issue. I mean, if this was
They
between
don't know
two other
Woodford.
property owners, I suppose one, you'd have to get an easement because they could deny us access to go up the driveway to get to the school. I don't see
think
that
that's what they want to
happening.
do.
No, no,
So-
I don't think they
Yeah.
want to do that either.
Right.
Could it be something similar to what you explained in Shaftesbury, where it's utilized as a use for the school, just as long as the school is open?
I think that language is already in the article agreement. If the school ever closed, the land would, the town has before the new Union District could dispose of it, it has to be offered back to the town first. So I think the town would be protected in that. So first we would ask for a conveyance, and if that didn't work, then I guess we'd be back to our attorney asking, do we need some type of an easement so that we can continue to use the property? Though I do think that the other question that came up, as we start transferring assets, impact aid was a big conversation. And I'm going to refer to my notes, and this is why we're sitting together tonight, because we were on a joint phone call for this. So the impact aid, which is federal money, clearly according to our attorney, cannot go to the town, but it has to go to the local educational agency. And the impact aid, the federal government does have a process for dealing with consolidating school districts and how the name process changed. And Renee has prepared a letter that we have to send to the federal government. Bennington is part of this also, because Bennington does receive impact aid, much smaller amount than what Woodford does. So this is a letter, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, it basically just outlines essentially the state board order, the forced merger, and what the new entity's name is. I'll provide them with the articles of agreement. I'll also give them a W-9 so they know that the entity has been formed. We have an employee ID number. But essentially it is just our indication that we do plan to continue to apply for this aid. It'll just be under the umbrella of a new name. So.
There are two other pots of money as far as when we're talking about federal money. There's about another $11,000 in play that the school district currently gets. And our attorney is recommending that we take this to the Woodford Board and ask if they want to vote to continue that to go to, they have an option. They can vote to continue to send that for schools or to send to the town for roads.
Is that forest receipts you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And or was that the Secure Rural School Act?
Yeah, it's the forest revenue which
Right.
comes through the.
Which is Title III money, so that can go to the roads. No,
Title
not
I.
Title III, Title I. So Title III is another pool of money, which in doing our research, they told us that the town of Woodford could avail itself to, but never had. It's a pool of money that comes through the federal government, is administrated through the state treasurer's office, and it's for emergency services, like if Woodford wanted to buy a fire truck or some type of emergency response vehicle. There's money sitting there that Woodford can apply for through the state treasurer's office.
Oh, it's not something that comes to us then?
You
It's
currently
a
are not
pool.
getting it, and so in the research for this, they said, how come Woodford's not applying for this? So.
We don't want a
we
fire
wanna
truck.
make them aware of that.
All the fire trucks we need.
Well, Ryan will find
Give it to
something.
Shasberry, we'll get another one if you want.
So that's a possibility, but there is $11,000 in play that we will be putting on the agenda for the next, well, we told our attorney, here's the deadline for the Woodford meeting. We need the language to bring before the Woodford Board so that they can decide what they want to do. And maybe hoping that will, the town will, the select board may be more willing with a conveyance on the land, knowing that they can pick up, it's not a lot of money, but it's $11,000. Actually, what our attorney said, the federal government says it's supposed to be $14,000, but the state of the treasurer's office actually disperses $11,000. So I don't know where the other $3,000 goes.
You might want to offer that first.
So the $11,000 is a combination of two things, or just the
No,
forest
just-
receipts?
It's forest
revenue.
Okay,
forest revenue.
okay.
Is that the 25%
Yeah.
that they take?
It said the record showed that at one point, you used to receive a lot more money in forest aid, which was basically for timber sales, but then we heard a very long explanation about how the
It went-
collapse of the logging industry and how in Oregon and California impacted Florida, I don't know,
Woodford.
Florida gave
It's as good an explanation as the federal government's gonna give you.
impacted Vermont's timber sales.
No,
So-
they made it all wilderness area, so you cannot even drive anything on it or log it.
Yeah, or logging. So that
That's
dried
what
up
hurt
that.
us with our taxes up there.
So the other language that
West.
we're waiting for in the Articles of Agreement, if we go to its, under Finances, Article 5, particularly transfer of debts, funds, and surpluses, we're asking for the process is it an automatic, or is it really a vote of the individual boards to transfer it to you? It depends how you read the Articles of Agreement, and so our attorney again has promised us that in time for everybody's June meetings. And a couple of things about deadlines that are in the articles that I think we've recently received some clarification, and this will really impact board chairs. So the board chair is going to have to sign some paper to transfer
Quitclaim deeds.
quitclaim deeds, thank you. And if it doesn't happen by June 30th, for whatever reason, say a board, votes, like Woodford may hold off to see what happens with the other conveyance. If you read further into the Articles of Agreement, the individual boards actually can still function up until December. So, because there will be, like, that was the auditors that just left our building right now, they were on their way out. We won't have an audit report for an individual board, so you may have to vote to, to receive that, and you can still, the chairs of those individual committees are still authorized to sign beyond June 30th. So, and we're still pursuing them for what other work needs to come before this board or the individual boards to make this transition smooth. The other thing, Dick and I were at training last Wednesday for school board chairs and superintendents up in Lake Maury, and one of the things we did get a legislative update that it says that both sides, the House and Senate, are pretty far apart still, and they don't see any action taken on an Act 46 delay legislatively. And there still is an active lawsuit, but so it's worth just wanting to note that it doesn't seem like there is going to be any delay, and we are continuing to move forward with that. Impact. And the last thing I have on here is a board retreat. When I was up in Shaftesbury for the meeting last week, some of the Shaftesbury members mentioned that they don't know anybody else on this board. Now, you're all familiar faces to me because I see you at the individual board meetings, but Shaftesbury doesn't necessarily know people from Bennington and vice versa. So I said I would bring it forward, that maybe we may want to schedule some type of less formal meeting, and have some type of retreat-like activity for this board as an effort to build some solidarity and get us all to know each other and work as a cohesive team.
Do you have any specifics in mind, Jim, or possible?
The Vermont School Board Association does do like seminars. They could come down and be the facilitator or something like that, if we want to do something like that. Or it could be a much more informal meeting where we could even facilitate. I mean, I know through my work, your work, you've probably done things like that, things that with icebreakers, informal conversation, breakout groups that we take time to learn who we're going to be working with for the next year.
So let's have some conversation about this. What do people think about that idea in general, about this body holding some kind of retreat? Please.
I've been to 2 or 3 of them over I don't know how many years. I thought they were all beneficial. I thought getting to know other people informally was important. We tend to do things a little differently on a board level. And the other thing that we did in at least 2 of those sessions was we talked about goals a lot more than we have time to at most meetings, and that could be a big topic. I'm not one that likes playing games, and I hate icebreakers and all the rest of that stuff that you gotta do with those things. I knew you would. But all
Two
that
truths and a
stuff,
lie.
all that
Slap
stuff
shot
seems to fit
contest.
together, so I'd recommend it.
Okay. Jill, please.
I too think it's an excellent idea. I would prefer something less formal. I agree. I wouldn't necessarily want to bring in the, whatever their initials are.
Vermont School Board?
Yeah, thank you. Because I think that tends to get a little stuffier, and then it stifles conversation oftentimes. So I would recommend something less formal, more social, to get to actually have conversation and know each other.
Can we drink?
I'm not opposed to it.
Plenty
Yeah,
of
that's
water.
on TV.
You can't strike that.
Any other thoughts about our
I just think, I think it's a great idea. I mean, you know, and I like the informal one too. I just think, you know, us getting to know each other better, more on a personal level, and a working relationship is only gonna make this board work better together. So, I mean, you know, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't.
Okay. Anybody have any thoughts to the contrary about maybe not doing a board retreat?
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, why don't you and I get together and form some ideas?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
Okay, great.
all right.
So that exhausts our agenda for the evening. And as such, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
When's our next
Next
meeting?
meeting.
We have one.
I think we have one booked, yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
2 Tuesdays from now, right?
Well, we have our information.
Isn't the day of the vote, was the day of what the vote originally was gonna be? Was that?
I think we tentatively reserved the 11th, but we also have the informational meeting the night
No, I
before.
think we said, I have the
June
4th
4th.
scheduled.
Oh.
I mean, it's not scheduled, we held that date last time, and, because that's when we thought we were gonna be having our vote, so.
Yeah, at 6.
That's it.
That's the time.
So it's June 4th, 5:30?
Yeah.
And when's the
Six.
vote
I won't
again?
be here.
The
The
11th,
11th.
The 11th.
which means
6,
we will
4,
have
6.
to have a floor
Did he
meeting
say 6?
the night of the 10th.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yes.
On the 4th.
I will not be able to make it. I get surgery on Thursday and I'm out for 2 weeks before I can even step on my foot.
Well, okay. So should we come to your house?
You can if you want to.
Where the meeting
Nice
is.
pond out there.
Jeez.
And it's here at central office.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, you said something about the 10th?
Think of when we have, whenever we do a vote, public vote, we do a floor meeting the night before, so we, you know, it shouldn't be a long meeting, but we're gonna have to have a floor meeting the night before on the 10th, so the public can come and ask questions about the budget.
It was part of the warning.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the way to Spain, so.
Oh,
La vida.
gee.
wait a minute.
The work, tough work he's got, right, you know? What are you going, fishing, hunting, what are we doing?
Before you
you know?
know. Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, absolutely. I can do that now, right?
So what time is the 10th?
I think 6 o'clock
Six,
here.
right?
And it's gonna be here?
Here, the floor
Yep.
meeting's here.
What time do you have to leave Spain to get back here?
For the vote.
But
Just
we're
the
gonna
meeting,
miss you.
For the meeting. I'll be on a plane, so let's see if we can turn it around.
So just so we're clear, so our meetings for June are Tuesday the 4th at 6 here,
Here.
and then Monday the 10th at 6 also here. And that is our informational meeting for the next day's budget votes.
We didn't adjourn yet, right?
We have not adjourned yet, no.
I need you to, the letter, I need you actually to have the board vote, so to authorize
Need
Renee to
send
sign
the
that
letter.
and send it.
Okay,
I don't think we actually voted to do that.
so should this be read into the record? Yes, okay. So this is the letter that we're sending regarding the impact aid that the superintendent outlined. Being sent to the U.S. Department of Education. Dear Mr. Thomas, 2 of our school districts that receive federal impact aid, the Bennington School District Incorporated, impact aid number 552602, a section 7003 impact aid recipient, and the Woodford Town School District, impact aid number 552101, a section 7002 impact aid recipient, are undergoing a state-ordered merger or consolidation. Pursuant to 34 CFR subsection 222.8, we want to ensure that the new successor Union School District will continue to receive federal impact aid. Bennington School District Incorporated and Woodford Town School District have both merged into the new Southwest Vermont Union Elementary School District, pursuant to the order of the Vermont State Board of Education dated November 30th, 2018. Pursuant to the attached Articles of Agreement on the SVUESD, the merger is effective on July 1st, 2019. Under Article 1 of the Articles of Agreement, upon the effective date of the merger, the new SVUESD will be responsible for pre-kindergarten to grade 6 education of all students from the Bennington School District Incorporated and the Woodford Town School District. Also, the new SVUESD will assume all indebtedness, liabilities, surpluses, real property, and equipment of the forming school districts, Bennington School District, Inc., and the Woodford Town School District. For your information, the SVUESD DUNS number is 117025414, and the EIN is 37-1931423. Please contact me with any questions. Sincerely, Renee J. Gordon. So, could we please have a motion to authorize Director Gordon to send this letter on behalf of the Unified Elementary School District?
I'll second.
Tony and Dick, any further discussion?
Thank you for fewer acronyms. That was just, I understood that.
I really thought there was a lot in the military, but I think we've surpassed it.
Carefully drafted by our attorney because when we're dealing with the federal government, one letter number off. Yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor. Any discussion about authorizing Director Gordon to send this? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. And should we hold a motion to see whether or not to give Richard a copy of this, to copy in the minutes, or should we have him take down all the notes?
Write it?
Yeah.
We can give him a copy.
I can send it.
So could I please have that motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Few, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion? Any abstentions? We're done. Thank you very much.